What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy B Hot Radio. Shout in, stepping in the building. I got a friend and family member to the show off in this thing, the owner of Patchwerk Studios, Curtis Daniel. What's good with it, boss?
Hey man, I'm 45 years old. You done gave me a new nickname, man.
Patchwerk Curt.
Yeah, man. You gonna put that on me, man?
Guys, I had to get it in the caption. I had to let them know who you were and what you stood for, Curt. I mean, how's everything been going, though, man?
I mean, I got nothing to complain about, man. We've been blessed, and we still working, and you know we here because we about to celebrate our 30th, man. So life's good.
30 years of the most exclusive studio in Atlanta. I mean, longevity, Curt. How have you maintained relevancy and longevity throughout these 30 years, man?
I mean, I think we were blessed to start with what matters.
Okay.
That even now people things are fads and things go in and out of style, but a great location.
Mm-hmm.
Quality products, great service.
Yeah.
Selling customer service never gets old, and you know we've been doing the same thing for years, and it seemed like people appreciate us more because all these other people ain't offering any customer service. And then we've been able. My daughter's 14. I know we haven't raised or changed our prices probably in like the past 20 years. And so I try to look at stuff as like if we want to make more money. Instead of punishing my customers by raising the prices, I try to look at it and be like, how can we be more efficient, cut some expenses to make a little bit more money or whatever. So we've been fair, and we've been delivering a good product for a long time. And even some of the people that may have left, they end up trying other things, and then they end up coming back. And so it's been good.
When it comes to giving back to the community, though, things like I do music and stuff like that and master classes, I mean, can you speak on that and why it's so important for you to teach the next generation of creators and business owners in Atlanta?
Yep, I've always been on it, man. I've always valued education, so I don't subscribe to people that be telling people you don't need to go to school.
Yeah, I don't play that shit either.
Half the people saying that never went to school.
Yeah.
So you need to have somebody saying that they did it and they can tell you whether it was helpful or not.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just like when we got in the game, me and Bob Whitfield, two black guys, about 23 years old. There weren't a lot of people on the technical side in this space. And I seen a lot of the other studio owners kind of dismiss and throw our people away, making mistakes. And so it was me, I was like, if we in here and we doing this, we need to provide an opportunity for people that look like us and give them an opportunity to make mistakes and grow. So we've always been, offering an intern program, doing workshops and masterclass. I just always think that when I look around in business, I try to look around at companies and institutions that's celebrating hundreds of years in business.
Yeah.
And most of the ones that celebrate hundreds of years are educational institutions. And so I'm like, we need to be doing the same thing.
Those are facts.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Patchwerk, though, Curt, I mean, the legacy that y'all have in Atlanta is like one of the vertebrae of Atlanta, too, in the same breath, okay? Yeah. You cannot say this Atlanta hip-hop culture that went global impacts the world without the help of Patchwerk Recording Studios. Do you realize that at the same time, Curt?
I looked at it when we did our 25th year documentary.
Yeah.
And even during the documentary, when we were working on it, I don't think I kind of saw it because I keep telling people I was involved with the shooting, the script, and then I would always be looking on my computer or on my phone. But one time I went to go speak at my school at Michigan State, and they had these two big 70, 80-inch screen TVs in the theater room, and they had put together a sizzle reel to watch it. So I sat in the audience and I looked at it on a real screen with real speakers. And I remember after it was over, the people was clapping, and I was still sitting there. And I literally said to them, I said, damn, we actually did something. Like, we had an impact.
Yeah.
And, as a business, for me, that's one of the questions that I ask myself is, like, do you matter?
Yeah.
And you figure out if you matter, if you be like, man, if we went away, would people miss us? And would we make a difference? And even during COVID, when we stopped doing all of our workshops and master classes and events, people was clamoring for us to get back to that, and it kind of made me feel like, people was like appreciating what we was doing.
Exactly.
And then it got a little bit of blurry in between that period because there was other people coming in that space who for the first 20, 25 years, they didn't really care about. There wasn't going to be no producers listening to your beats, talking to you on live and all this stuff. They dismissed them people. So we had a whole bunch of people that came into that educational space and was acting like they wanted to teach people and help people because they couldn't go on the road. So now, 3 to 5 years later, that space is cleared back up, and we're still doing the same thing, which is a blessing. And so I always look at it and just be like, check the history. We started doing it in 95, not when the pandemic happened, and we still continue to do it. We actually, for us, we had been doing it up until the pandemic, then we stopped. Other people had never did it, and then when the pandemic came, they started doing it, and then when it was over, they quit.
Come on.
We did the opposite. We had been doing it up into it, and we wanted to be safe, so we paused and stopped. And then when everything settled back down, we started picking back up our programs that help our people.
Cranking the party up back in 95, obviously, the Dungeon family had to come through there and record a lot of stuff. Rico Wade, somebody that actually spoke on the documentary as well about the impact of Patchwerk on the Dungeon family. What do you have to say about him and his legacy and the energy and the vibes that they brought to Patchwerk?
I mean, it's funny. I think about all the times whenever we celebrate something that even like the last time I called Ray, and he was like, I know, we was the first client, whatever you need. It's like I was literally this morning, no joke, I was thinking about this. I was like, man, some people, get upset and feel like that people don't remember things and don't give people credit. And I was like, these people probably sick of me because I'm always saying this is how we got started. These were our first clients. They gave us instant credibility. Dee Dee was patient and told me what they were doing in studios in LA, Miami, and New York. Told us what we needed to do. Held our hand along the way when we made mistakes, convinced the guys to stay there. And so for us, it's like, man, it's the craziest thing just to be like, when people be like, who was your first client? And you be like, it was Organized Noise and Outkast. I'm not lying. I'm not making it up. I'm not skipping over anybody. That's literally how we started. Rico, when he passed, I mean, I hadn't heard anybody else said it, but I said it. I said, man, it's like we have superheroes. And they're walking amongst us. And for me, it's kind of like, it's hurtful for me when our superheroes kind of get taken for granted and get dismissed. And I'll be sitting there and be like, man, y'all acting like this person wasn't on MTV, crowd surfing. You act like his music didn't go around the world. You act like it didn't have an impact, and you act like this is normal. Like, these dudes are superstars. So for him, for a while, it's like it's a difference when certain people pass. And it's kind of like, it's a foundational piece of Atlanta. And not only just his contribution for the creativity and what they did. A lot of people, we ever do interviews, they'll be like, what makes Atlanta different than everybody area? And I said, it's the music. I said, it's our producers. They're not making beats, they making music. They're making music because their inspiration came from Organized Noise, who had live musicians and bands and singers and backgrounds. So people grew up listening to that, trying to emulate that. So the difference with Atlanta is that our producers ain't just making beats, they making music, soulful music. So for that to happen to him, I mean, I'm glad that they're kind of honoring, with the stuff that they're doing with the city. I'm glad that so many people came out, to the ceremony. And I'm glad that people bring him up still all the time. And I'm glad that they did the dedication. And we don't need to forget about the other two are here.
Exactly. Like Sleepy and Ray.
And what they've done. I mean, Rico was the mouthpiece. Rico was the energy, so he was out at front. So most people do it. But whenever, back then, all three of them was in the studio at the same time, and they all was bringing in creative input and making stuff magical. So for him, I just hope that people keep bringing him up. And for us, they're forever a part of our history and our legacy because they were our first clients.
Seeing a young Outkast in the studio, though, and fast forwarding 30 years later and then the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, what goes through your mind when you remember those times, Curt?
Man, the funny thing, when I be looking at the old videos, I be like, man, it wasn't no money. I mean, I look at the cars that they was driving. I look at the clothes that they was wearing. How many people, like, even for us, when they first started working there, we kind of got them by getting them tickets to the Falcons game.
Yeah.
And because there was no money, they didn't want to pay to park there, so they would park at the studio, and we carpooled to the stadium, broke as could be, and sat in the front row. They didn't have no money to buy no front row tickets.
Yeah.
So the thing that strikes me is that I just be saying, like, it's a blessing, because sometimes you work with people like that early in their career, whether it's Outkast, whether it's Ludacris, whether it's Jeezy, whether it's Lil Jon, whether it's Sierra, and these people become huge mega stars, and they have continued to grow in their career, and unfortunately, sometimes they outgrow you and they move on.
Yeah.
Our blessing is that we were able to grow with them in their career, so they never really left. So we started out in that house, and it was a smaller studio, and then we invested and got a world-class facility.
Right.
So now, even though Ludacris is doing Fast and Furious, we can do the ADR for Fast and Furious.
Come on.
Now that Jeezy is playing with the orchestra, we can send our crew out to go do the orchestra.
Yeah.
Now that the last Goody Mob album, we got a chance to master that, because
that's hard.
we kept up with the skill set. And so now it's cool where you see these people that you've been knowing for 25, 30 years, and they be like, man, I kind of been out the game for a little bit. I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
But they trust us and they trust me. And they be like, Kurt, what are y'all doing? I was like, we know how to do the codes. We know how to do the copyright. We know. And there's an at ease to, it's almost like I'll see people just give stuff to me.
Yeah.
Or they'll just be like, once it's over there with Curtis and Patchwerk,
it's good.
That's one thing we ain't got to worry about. We worry about the
exactly.
other stuff. If they say they're going to be done on this date and they're going to do this paperwork and they're going to mix it, they're going to master it, they're going to code it, they're going to distribute it, they're going to shoot it.
Yeah.
It's a peace of mind that they have to go on and go do something else.
Damn right.
Yeah.
When you think about a young Jeezy, though, being able to work with him the whole time, how do you feel when you think to yourself, okay, I saw him in this studio recording, and then I rode down the street and the thing took over the street, and now he's performing with orchestras?
I feel about him in particular is you used to be able to feel the tension in the air when they came in the studio, all the BMF.
Why were they having it so stressful?
I'm just telling you, man, it's just like when they would come in, if you anywhere and 25 niggas come through there at once in all black tees and hats and whatever, it changes. Whatever energy we had in the studio is just chilling. You talking about you here by yourself, you chilling. And then if they come do an interview and 30 of them roll up in here, it just changes the energy in the room. Yeah. And so now I be laughing at them because, I probably got a text from 2 days ago. We're working on something I can't say. But 7:30 in the morning. Top of the morning, Kurt. Call, can you jump on the call right now? And I'll be laughing at them because when he comes to the studio now, he comes alone, and he comes before noon. And I'll just be sitting there laughing, and I'll be like, man, you done grew up or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And so for him, I think about, like, even him and Waka. Somebody accidentally called me Speedy, and Waka was with him, so I talked to him. Yeah. And every time I talk to him, I'd be like, man, you grew up. I'm proud of you, man. Like, that stuff that you're doing with your investments, trying to be more responsible with your relationships. Even Gucci and them, it's a thing when you see these people and they're 19, 20, 23 and they in these streets. Yeah. They chasing their dreams and they willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish their dreams. A lot of people get cut off before they have an opportunity to evolve who they really are. Yeah. So for these artists to see them is like, when I look back at their CDs, like we got a radio station now, so I was going through my CD collection, pulling out CDs so we can put them on there, and I pulled out Chris's Incognito. Yeah. And I got a young dude, 28, and I'm explaining this is why the first album was called Back for the First Time, because we actually did this album, and they got Timberland, they got Pimp C, and them added a couple records and did it. But to see them where they were coming in that Acura, you know what I mean? And then now they on the big screen doing movies and stuff like that. And then the cool thing about it is they have an appreciation for what we did, because the stuff that we did 25, 30 years ago, it's standing up.
You're damn right it is.
When they get on the stage and they hear it and they like, this shit still sound good because we did it right.
Damn right.
And they have an appreciation. So a lot of these people, like when they coming back, like when Luda was on tour with Janet, people don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, he wasn't the headliner, so he didn't take a band out. Yeah. But they brought a band to the studio. We recorded the band live.
That's hard.
We mixed it, EQ'd it, and mastered, and that's what they performed to. So when the DJ was playing records, it was one level, but when Chris came on to perform, it sounded like he had a band in the background.
That's crazy.
And so we're still in the background supporting our longtime clients and clientele.
Seeing a young Ludacris chasing his dream, though. I mean, before he became a movie star, what was that like, seeing him coming in there trying to figure it out just like everybody else? And then all of these people, you know, the commonality with a lot of them is that they go out to be mega stars. It ain't no we gonna go and do pretty good. They go and blow all the way up.
Yeah, I joke all the time, and it's the same way. And I told him when he was in there, can't make no money off you, Chris. He's like, what you mean? I said, nigga, you come to the studio early.
Yeah.
Before the studio time started, he pull up in the back gate.
Yeah.
He sit in his car, and he gonna write his rhymes or whatever. Whatever time his session started, he gonna walk in there 10 minutes early, speak to the engineer, get his water. He gonna go in the booth and do his shit. Get
the hell out of there.
He ain't going in the lounge.
Around.
He ain't smoking. He ain't wasting time, and he's been like that all the time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you end up where with him, you know, I look at it and it's kind of like the cool thing is when you see people like him still working with the people that they started with. And I'll be like, man, I respect that. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? And those are cool. And then even now, like, you know, talking to Tip, hey, Tip, I'm going to call you. Tip been trying to get me to come run one of his spots. So we've been talking about it. And just seeing people mature. Like I keep saying, man, we don't know who these kids are at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Some of them get locked up, some of them get killed. Yeah. And we judging them for who they currently are. Yeah. But as they mature and get like, man, Gucci was crazy. You know what I mean? And to see him now, you know what I mean, is just maturity.
What was it like seeing a crazy Gucci Mane in your studio?
Man, he was crazy. Like, I mean, it was not like that. He's never done anything disrespectful to me or the building because he respects us. But, you know, for him, that we were where he was going to keep out of trouble. Yeah. If he was in the studio, he would be in there asleep. He would be there all day, 15 hours. Yeah. Same thing when Tip got in trouble. He had a work release, so he needed to go to work. So he used to get up at 7:30 in the morning and open the studio. Tip would come in there and go to sleep. And then he would get to work. But it was better than sitting in the jail cell. Exactly. So with Gucci, when he was like, we knew when he wasn't in the studio, like when he was riding around at the mall, jumping out on girls, he left the studio. Yeah. And so, you know, he was cool. He's respectful. I never had no problem with him. But when you see him outside the studio, man, I'd be like, boy, you crazy. You know what I mean? But he was on one.
I mean, when Tip is getting his work released to work at Patchwerk, I mean, how did y'all work that out? And what was that like for you trying to figure that out?
Well, it ain't really us. He's basically got a thing that I can go to work. I'm going to get out to go to work. I'm an artist. And then he'll tell them, this is where I want to be at. Yeah. And they'd be like, man, can y'all open up early? And I'd be like, yeah, we'll come down there and open up. And we ain't working, but he's just in there. He's at his workplace. Exactly. And he might be sleeping, chilling for a little while, and then he'll get up and do his job. Yeah. And then when he's done, he would have to go back, you know, to the jail
halfway house.
Yeah. And then Gucci, it was more so whenever he would get locked up, you know, I would get a call probably about a week or 4 days before he got out. And then we would just line up the studio, and all the producers would come through. And that's where he would come when he got out, because he probably been writing, had a lot of pent-up stuff, and then he would just air it out in the studio or whatever. But us, we just played it like regular. Like they would call, and we'd set the time up and then make sure everybody was straight.
When it came to just studio sessions, though, Curt, I mean, what sessions drove you the most crazy to where you was like, you know what, I don't know if I want to let y'all back in here ever again?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So you saying something that drove us the most crazy, and I said that we don't want to let you back. So I'll say this. The more challenging sessions are fun for me because I feel like if we can deliver, they don't have nowhere else to go. Yeah. I think that it was the most challenging to set up, but the execution was flawless. So when we did Mariah, it was like a lot. Yeah. And so they were booking, I think, 2 weeks, a week or two. They had Randy from American Idol. They had from Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis was here, and another engineer. They flew all these people here. Yeah. They was having problems getting, this when Def Jam had gave her a bunch of money. They couldn't get her in the studio, so they blocked out every room in the studio. They didn't want nobody downstairs in the mastering, the production, all 3 studios. They told the engineer to get out the room, sit at the front desk. We'll call you when we need him. We had to rent a $200,000 piano. We had a rider with all kind of flowers, with candy, champagne. And so it was a lot setting up. It was a lot of meetings and everything. And then, you know, we did it. Like, I remember the people, was the labels came up, the execs, they would have meetings before she come. Now, they had the room from 12 p.m. until she would show up around midnight.
Yeah.
But she would work from midnight till 10 in the morning once she put the kids together. But all throughout the day, they was just sitting on their hands. And so they would be like, you know, hey, Curtis, we did the first session and, you know, we had an issue. And I'm like, what's going on, man? Call me. It was like, well, we didn't have any flowers for Mariah. And I said, it wasn't on the rider, but did they get them? They was like, yeah, somebody went and got them.
Yeah.
They called me. Hey, man, we didn't have any champagne flute glasses. And I said, was it on the rider? He was like, no. I said, did they? Yeah, somebody took care of it. And he called me. He said, man. I said, what's up? He said, man, the vending machine took my dollar. I said, nigga, get out of here, dude. I said, all this shit that you got on this list, we've been meeting for 2 weeks with all of these requirements and all of this stuff that we got to do, and you calling me talking about a vending. That's when I knew we did our job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we did some, the Dr. Dre was more just kind of like, again, these people, it's a lot of other people telling you all the stuff that you need to do and how they gonna be. His biggest challenge was, back in the day, he came in on a Sunday and they were doing 7 days. And the nigga wanted some, what's the green Tangeray? Stores were closed. They waited. He wanted 3/5 of Tangeray. So Solomon, who was just working with Jeezy, used to run Justin's.
Yeah.
I called his ass at Justin's. He let me come do it, get 3/5 of Tangeray.
That's good.
And the
That's
session went great. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But you being a West Coast guy, having Dr. Dre at your base, man. I mean, how did you feel about that, though, Curt?
I mean, there's certain sessions that I'm there. I mean, I came for the Dr. Dre session. I came for Farrakhan, and I came because I didn't believe that Twista really rapped like that.
Ooh.
And I wanted to, I'm like, nigga, I'm about to learn the secret, nigga. I said, nigga, this nigga about to rap. I'm about to sit up in this motherfucking shit. And then E40, I didn't believe he can do it. And so I sat up in there, and them niggas did it. Like, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I was trying to figure out if it was some type of trip. And then I have so much respect for, you know, Patti LaBelle. So I was there, Regina Belle, and stuff like that. Yeah, you know. And then people that come back that, like, now I see people come in there and they be thinking that people don't know them, but I'm old.
Yeah.
So I'm walking in, I'm like, nigga, that's Cool Mo D and one of the Poor Righteous Teachers. But my staff don't know who they are. They just walking up and down the hallway. Yeah. You know, and they didn't know who Mobb Deep was. They didn't know KRS-One, you know what I mean? So when I be sitting there, like when KRS-One came, I just said, hey, Chris, man, look. I said, just out of appreciation for all the stuff you done all these years, I'm going to comp this 8-hour session. Just going to bill you for the engineer, but the studio time is on us as a thank you for what you contributed to hip hop. And he really appreciated that. And
I would have appreciated that too. Shit.
Well, if y'all see Sade, I got a free month for her. You let her know she can come work whenever she want to. I got her. I ain't even gonna charge her for the engineer.
I feel you. I feel you. So, Curt, now though, with us celebrating this 30 years, man, I mean, we got vinyl parties going on. I mean, what do we need to be expecting from this stuff, man?
I mean, here it's kind of like I was telling some of the younger people, like I basically said this 30th anniversary, I'm picking who I want to perform. There's going to be other people that kind of come up there. I'm picking the DJ that I want, and I'm picking some of my favorite artists that I like to be around and that I like over the years. Yeah. So for me, I personally chose Bone Crusher, Pastor Troy, and the Young Bloods.
Come on.
And so I've asked them to perform, and they all confirmed they did it. And for DJing, I asked DJ Herb to do it. Now, I am going to have other people that, you know, that's going to come and do a verse, do a song or whatever, and then we'll have sets with different DJs that we have relationships like MLK, Greg Street, DJ Nams and stuff like that. So the party is like a Patchwerk festival. It's going to be from 2 p.m. till 8. My thing is I want it to be anti of all the stuff that you see. So there won't be any paid parking. There won't be no VIP section. It won't be a cost. It ain't gonna be no tables and sections.
Yeah.
It's gonna be friendly for kids and dogs.
Yeah.
It's gonna be drinks. It's gonna be food trucks and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
I think what we're gonna end up doing is just telling people make a donation to our I Do Music nonprofit. Donate $5, get a ticket. Donate $10, get 2.
Yeah.
$20, get 4.
Yeah.
$50, we're gonna give you 6 tickets. $50, we're gonna give you a table and 6 tickets.
Yeah.
So it ain't about the money. It's to cover some of the expenses and to give to the foundation, so the foundation can continue to give back to the community.
You say Pastor Troy, Bone Crusher, and the Young Bloods. Now that leads me to believe, Curt, that you're about that crunk life.
Man, I like them.
Okay.
Like,
is it them or is the music?
It's both.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, like where we 30 years in.
Yeah.
And so you hope in your career that you get in a position that if you are doing work that you get to choose the people that you work with.
That's right.
And so if there's people that I enjoy working with, and we're doing something to celebrate 30 years, I want them people to be a part of it.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? We did vice versa. We Ready.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We didn't do Bones' biggest song, but I talked to him. He's my friend.
Exactly.
And the Young Bloods is like one of my favorite people. Groups.
Yeah.
Just them, who they are, what they done, and stuff like that. And so for me, it's easy to pick up the phone and be like, I want y'all to do this. And they be like, Curt, we in town, we got it. Now on there's other people that I feel the same way about.
Yeah.
I talked to Fabo, I talked to Rocco,
Yeah.
I talked to Jazzy.
Okay.
But man, it's like I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like 3 people that we gonna kind of like, I want to put y'all face and logo on it.
Yeah.
And then the other people, I do appreciate them and I want them to come do something, but I'm trying to figure that out. So prior to that, we are having another event, a vinyl event, where we gonna bring vinyl and turntables out and play records that we done at the studio. So I've asked Jazzy to do a Sierra record and another record. I've asked Fabo to do 2 records. I've asked Rocco to do records. I asked Young Bloods. I asked Pastor Troy. Jason Jeter gonna come do some tip records, and then Block. And so then we'll kind of do that. And then later on in September, we'll do our 5K, where we kind of basically like, we saying, nigga, we run the streets.
Come on now, literally.
We're going to put 300 niggas in the streets, and we're going to run the streets of Atlanta.
That's hard.
And
That's hard.
So like on here, I just was telling people, like, for this, I said, for 30 years, man, we've been doing things for our customers and our clients and trying to make sure that they comfortable. And I'm like, I just want to have a party where I like the food trucks, I like the DJ, and I like the people performing.
Exactly.
If y'all don't like it, the rest of the people, it wasn't for you on this particular time. Anything else that we doing,
it'll be
doing
for
it
you.
Our clients.
Exactly.
Yeah, but for this one, I told them, as long as they got the drink that I want to drink and the food that I want to eat, and the DJing, and the people get up there and do these records that I enjoy.
Come on, man.
They calling me. Only they do the record.
Exactly.
Man, it is what it is. Y'all can do your own party.
Answer me this though, Curt. When it comes to Patchwerk, 30 years of music just flowing through there. How did you feel about the different sounds that you heard coming through them from the young guys? Because, I mean, you got the Dungeon Family, that was one sound. Then you got the crunk era. Then you got the futuristic era. You got the trap era. You got all of these different sounds coming through there. So, I mean, what was that doing to your ear going in and out of there?
For me, it was more so like, I've always been like, everything ain't for everybody.
Yeah.
And so if it's something that I didn't care for and I didn't enjoy, I didn't judge it.
Yeah.
My job was to make sure that sonically, or our job is to make sure that sonically it hit right. I tell people that I don't really use the music to think if it's going to work.
Okay.
I look at what's going on around it. I'm in the business part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm never in the studio. I'm looking at, okay, when they called the book, did they do it ahead of time? Yes, they were.
Okay.
Did I have a problem getting a purchase order? No, I didn't. Did they give them a food budget? Yeah, they did. Did they only give them $100, or did they say it's unlimited, you can get them what they want to?
Yeah.
And then if I say, okay, you booked them for 8 hours, and if they want to work more, do they say you need to call me back, or it ain't approved, or do they be like they can work as long as they want to? Now we did the work.
Yeah.
When I send the invoice out, does it take them 30 days to pay, or does it take 60 or 120? Ooh. Okay, well, when we do Beyonce, this is what we want. This is the writer. Here's our food budget, If it goes over, I don't care. Pay it. Okay, we do the session on Monday, and they calling me asking for the bill. On Tuesday morning, they asking for the bill.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, I got a FedEx AM delivery paid in full. Stuff like that makes me believe that they're going to pay their street team.
Yeah.
They're going to pay the promo team.
Yeah.
They're going to pay the radio stations and the DJs. People are going to feel good about working on this project, so it has a better chance to be successful as opposed to everybody looking for their money. You got a rapper, the producer ain't getting paid, the engineer ain't getting paid, studio ain't getting paid, manager ain't getting paid, whatever. That makes me think that even though the music is dope, it ain't gonna work because the system
business
ain't behind
right.
it.
Yeah.
So when the business is set up, at least I say they have an opportunity to be successful.
Yeah.
Some of it, I'd be like, this nigga snapping, but these people doing this
Ain't
stuff
snapping
don't
behind
know,
the
they,
scenes.
they don't know what they doing. Yeah.
Seeing the Beyonce walk in there, though, what was going through your mind at that time laying it down for Queen B?
I left. Yeah. She was there for 3 days.
Yeah.
And like I be telling people, man, some people, it's like, to me, it's like being the chef at a restaurant or owner.
Yeah.
Some people want you to come out to the table.
Yeah.
Some people are offended if you don't come out to the table. Some people don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
For me, what tends to happen is we can do Mariah Carey, we can do R. Kelly, we can do Beyonce. We can work with all eight teams and set everything up, and it don't even get to me. The staff is dealing with it.
Yeah.
They set it up, they took the payment, they got the writer, they
Yeah.
did the POs, everything. Once they meet me,
Yeah.
they don't want to call the staff no more.
Oh!
So that's why I be like, if I go,
I'll be at the end.
there you go. If I go
Yeah.
in there, then the next day, hey man, we want to get back in the studio. And I'm like, man, you done did all these weeks with the staff, the
Yeah.
manager that's at the office, they want to cut the line and start calling me.
Yeah.
So certain people, Alicia Keys, Beyonce, and them, and when they got a lot going on,
Yeah.
I'd rather just be like, let me stay back. That's why for us, it's kind of like I never would make a business with my name on it, with a silhouette of me or a picture. I think that makes it smaller.
Yeah.
I always wanted it to be Patchwerk. It's like an institution, and you can't really associate with who owns it.
Come on.
So we can do, I don't have to be there for us to keep working and be successful.
Those are facts.
I want them to buy into, hey man, if you call at 10 o'clock, there's a manager there.
Yeah.
If you call at 2 o'clock, there's a manager. You don't have to speak to Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why with some people, I'll be like, man, everything was great.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I go in there, and then they look at me, they don't be saying nothing
Yeah.
to me. They think I'm an intern because
Yeah.
I be picking up trash.
Yeah,
and then when they find out who I am, oh man, let me get your number. And then they don't. Then they don't want to do anything
Unless they talk to you.
and it throws stuff out of alignment at that particular point.
I feel that.
So even some of the people now, what I do when they call me and I'm off, I just call the studio on three-way.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, hey,
you
Oz
go.
is on the line. He can pull up. And then after I do it about 6 or 7 times, they'll call. Oh man, let me just call the studio.
Exactly.
And so I'm not just dumping them on them.
Directing traffic.
Yeah, I'm handling them and making sure they're taken care of, but I'm introducing them to our management staff and letting them know that, hey man, this is a good client of mine. I've been knowing him for years. Make sure he's straight. And then I
Exactly.
tell them, I say, hey, call the office.
Yeah.
If you got a problem, then call me, and then I'll work it out for you.
Exactly. Not only though is Patchwerk an institution in Atlanta, it's an institution globally for music, man. So I mean, having people from all over the world converge on your studio, how does that make you feel, realizing that, you know what, this started off as a local thing and now it's an international thing?
Feels good. We're working on a project right now,
Yeah.
South Africa.
See that?
And, I think the dude is Omalati, and the first song got WizKid, but I just looked at the track listing, and he got a song featuring Dr. Dre.
Ooh.
And so we actually we did there was about 14 people came over from Africa, from the continent, and they were touring different places in the United States, and they
Yeah.
wanted to see us.
Yeah.
It was like hip hop is big in South Africa, and the people was like, well, the people doing hip hop is Patchwerk.
Yeah.
So I did this tour with these people, and it was crazy because they had on suits, they look all stiff, and then when we hit play,
The party starts.
Them niggas doing everything. So anyway, 6 months later, one of the guys calls me, and he's
Yeah.
like, hey Curtis, we working on this project, it's a big deal, and I want you guys to do one record to see how it sounds.
Yeah.
And so we did one record, and our engineer was worried, and they loved it. And
Yeah.
so then it went from trying to fly our engineer to New York to Africa to
Damn.
LA. And we convinced them to let us do it here at the studio. So
Oh, that's hard.
We ended up doing 15 songs, and so they're out of the country, so we have to chime in real time, and then they can do the edits and stuff like that. And then not only did we mix it, record, well, we didn't record it, but we mixed it, we're mastering it, coding it up for them and everything or whatever. So it's cool to hear. Like, I got a call probably about 15 years ago from Abbey Road Studios asking, how do we do what we do? And they like, man, we feel like our people look at us as like a museum, and they think we're inaccessible, and they were having problems getting clients in to do recording, as opposed to this is the studio that the Beatles did.
Yeah.
And I was humbled because they wanted
The
my
sauce.
advice on how we did it and what we were doing and stuff like that. And so I just always tell people, man, we've done a lot. Like, I mean, we are where, if you think of, if people still on this trap music, we did it at the studio. We just ain't had time. We just didn't die and say, hey, let's hang on to trap. Or we did the Shorty Swing My Way. We did the That's Just My Baby Daddy.
Exactly.
We did Freak It with Lathan.
Yeah.
We did all these, My Boo. We did all these records.
Yeah.
But we ain't die right there with that genre.
Exactly.
We moved on, like you said, to the next one. And then while people over here asking about what did you do, we worried about the person coming in tomorrow. Then we move on to here and move on to here. So this world sound that we got an opportunity that, you know, they come into the United States. They could have went to New York. They could have went to Miami. They could have did it in Africa. These people are international. And they loved what we did enough and trusted us enough to do this dude's whole project. It's going to be huge. Now, I don't know if it'll connect with the people here. And maybe we could do a better job of telling y'all that look what we did. But in the other room, we got this bigger project that we working on, and we just gotta kind of keep going. We don't really, like, these are real conversations, of long conversations, like jumping on with people's production and management. And hey, I need you to fly some engineers to Miami, and then we're gonna come to Atlanta. We're gonna do this. Then I need you to do this, and then we're gonna bring this over here and all this stuff. So these are big projects, and it's kind of like you realize that people trust you with it, so you can't fuck it up. You know what I mean? It's a challenge.
No, I'm with you on that. The business, though, Kurt, being able to stay relevant throughout all of the years with the rise of the home studio, everybody recording at home. How did you maintain Patchwerk's relevance during all of that time?
The home is a blessing to me. To me. So when it comes to, I've been there the whole time, so I know. And I ask people, I'll be like, how'd you hear about us? They're like, come on, man, we know about Patchwerk. I'm like, why'd you choose us? Man, this was my dreams. So I have all this information that for over 29, 30 years, I've been talking to my customers. Patchwerk is like, it's Disneyland for people in the music industry. This is a dream. It's an aspiration for them to get there. So they hold us up high, and they think that we're going to do everything perfect and not make any mistakes and whatever. And so I tell people it's like a young girl who's getting married for the first time. She's getting married, but she's marrying an idea. She don't really know what marriage is. She think it's this fantasy. But then you get married and you be like, it's work to be done. It's the real deal. So now somebody that have been married before, they ain't gonna be tripping on you. They gonna be like, man, I got a good dude. Let me stop screaming on them. Let me help out. It's a partnership. But these people, they're coming to work at this dream studio. And so then we're doing that, which is cool, but there was nobody to compare us to. So now you come in here and you work at your dream place, and you might be like, dang, I thought it was gonna be different, but you don't have a point of reference to know what you appreciate. Then now these home studios and these small independent studios pop up, and they go try that place. And they like, man, it was hard to book time. Patchwerk. It didn't have parking. It was hard for me to make my payment. The engineer was late. It was smoked out or whatever. So to me, it offered a contrast, which I welcomed. Hey, man, you ain't happy? Go over there. Man, I'll give you the number to the other studio. Go over there. And then they go there, and then they start appreciating what you're doing a little bit more. And then what I tell people, it was kind of like, you know, when we first started, we had a smaller studio. And I told Bob, I said, well, we were in the middle. I said, we getting beat up by the home studio, and we getting beat up by the world. It's like biblical stuff. They say the worst place to be is lukewarm. Either be cold or be hot. When you sitting in the middle, The niggas at home is eating your lunch, and the people at top, they skipping you. They doing as much as they can at home, skipping the middle, and then spending the money on a world-class facility. So I told Bob, we got to get out the middle. I said, you want me to sell Mercedes-Benzes, but you gave me a Honda.
Yeah.
Give me the luxury car, and I'll kill all these people.
Exactly.
And so for us, I look at it like, even going out, like when people have to cut back, they may be like, I used to go out 3-4 times a week and eat dinner. I got to cut back. I'm only going out once. But when they go out that one time, they don't want to guess about the food. They're going to pick a place that they be like, nigga, I ain't experimenting. I'm going here because I know the waiter going to be good, the service going to be good, the food going to be hot, and then I'm going to go here. So a lot of people, when they cut back on the smaller places, whatever. They save their money and be like, if we going out, we're going to go out here.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we're a little bit more efficient. I feel like, 8 hours with us is like a 12-hour day with somebody else. And I remember Alley Boy, from Duct Tape one time. He told me,
Alley?
Yeah, we was having an issue where, and you can put 2 and 2 together, but their label didn't want them to work at our studio because they had another label here, Atlantic.
Yeah.
So they were sending them over to their studio, but they didn't want to work there.
Yeah.
And Alley Boy was like, man, I just don't. He's like, man, when I do work at their studio, I don't have confidence because I don't know if it sound right. And I be worried about, do I need to do it over?
Yeah.
So I be coming over here redoing stuff that I did over there. I don't know if the engineer going to do this. And he was like, man, Curt, I can work over here for 6 hours and get more records done and be happy with it than a 12-hour day over there.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's important. And then, like I be telling people, we can't fool anybody for 30 years.
Yeah.
We have a different product.
Yeah.
When you come in and you check the mic, it ain't going to take you until we record it, mix it, and master it and give it back. As soon as you get in there and say,
hello.
Hey, man, there you go. You're going to be like, shit, man, this shit sound different. It's a different product. So it's like, I can't keep fooling people.
Yeah.
You got it. So we had, I'm going to tell this story. So the last Jeezy album, he had his own mix engineer. And then I was like, I got somebody that's killing people.
Yeah.
He was like, you do? I said, yeah, let us do a record.
Yeah.
He was like, my guy doing this, won't he just assist? I said, okay, let us just do a record. If you don't like it, you ain't got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Man, the dude did like 9 records, his engineer. My guy was like, hey, Curtis, I don't want to be listed on the assistant credits because he's not doing a good job. It don't sound right. He's like, it sounds bad.
Damn.
I said, well, do a record, and I'm going to get them to listen to it.
Yeah.
He did 1 record. So then I wasn't in the room.
Yeah.
I said, how'd the meeting go? What was y'all talking about? He said, I hit play. And he hired him to do the whole 20 songs on the last album. And he's doing stuff for him now.
Come on.
Yeah, because it's like, man, all that talking.
Yeah.
That's why I be seeing so many people talking. Man, you talking me to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had another situation where, I'm not gonna say this artist because only 1 record has come out so far. Yeah. And it's gonna be a 6-song EP, and it's a label here that I'm cool with. Yeah. We already talked about them, but I ain't saying who it is. But we mixed their songs. Perfect. I said they was trying to go somewhere else to master it. Let us master it. We got such and such. I say, hey, man, I'll cut you a deal. I believe in my guy. Yeah. We'll master one of your songs, and if you don't like it, you don't got to pay for it. Yeah. If you like it, I need you to commit to letting us do all 6 songs. Yeah. We did the song. They ACH'd the money the next day. And I was like, damn, y'all paid for it? But then they took the other 5 songs and let somebody else master it. We come back to the studio 3 months later. They got 3 new records that need to be mixed. Yeah. So they're playing the masters in the studio, comparing it to the 1 song that we mastered. They paid us to do the other 5 songs over. Right. And had us do 3 more records or whatever. And it'd be like, I'm tired of talking. Man, you using this dude. Yeah. I know I'm listening to your stuff and I'm listening to ours. Yeah. You think I'm going to bet you and I know I'm going to lose? If I'm telling you, hey, man, all right, I hear what you're doing. Let my guy do it. And then I say, I need a commitment. And that's how we play it. I was waiting on somebody to call me for verses. I want to battle another studio.
I got to ask you this, though, Curt, and I feel you on that because I'm about to take it here. Do y'all do tours at your studio just
Absolutely.
for people that come in town that just need to see what the hell's going on?
So we have free tours.
Okay.
And then we have VIP tours.
Well, that's hard.
And then we have artist tours where when you're an artist, you can come in and play some of your music.
Yeah.
We're going to give you 15, 20 minutes to go in the vocal booth to hear what you sound like, and we're going to schedule you with the engineer to meet. So we got, and then we got kids tours.
Yeah.
Where kids can come in with their schools on the buses, and then we do corporate tours. But we do free tours.
Yeah.
Those are kind of basic, but then we got VIP, artist VIP, kids and school tours, and then corporate tours. And those are paid. And we definitely do them.
Exactly.
And the crazy thing about it, B-High, is that like, so when I was doing it, a lot of people in our thing was tripping. They was like, yeah, but you charging, it's like $5.50 for 15 people. It would average out to $22 a person. And then if you got anybody over 15, it's $22, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know I'm paying $30 to my daughter to go to Telus.
Exactly.
She paying $40 to go to the zoo. People do school field trips all the time. And so, but I said, okay. I said, you do know we got free tours, though. I said, but to block off 2 hours, it ain't fair to us to block off 2 hours where we can't work, have somebody in there. So we set the nonprofit up so that if you had a school that wanted to do a tour, then we would get our graphic artists to create a campaign and say, hey, won't you make a donation to I Do Music so me and my school can go here, and then it kind of covers itself.
Yeah.
So my goal is I see the white schools and the private schools bring a bus over, bring lunch, pay me, and let their kids tour. Our kids can't do it.
Yeah.
So my goal is to raise enough money so that I can bring at least 2 to 3 schools to Patchwerk a week.
Yeah.
And not have to charge them, you know, and give them something to eat to tour the studio. But absolutely.
Have you also ever thought about satellite studios in the same breath, Curt? Because Patchwerk gets busy, sir.
Yeah.
And folks want a taste of that patchwork. Did you think about satelliting that thing?
So we thought about, so like I said, during the pandemic when we were doing our podcasts and shows and stuff, that could have went satellite or virtual, but we stopped because we're selling an experience. I'm like, this is not I Do Music if Sammy ain't sitting here in the studio with this guest. I'm not doing no pop-up. I like it better when Cam and Mace are in the studio.
Yeah.
I like it on PTI when Tony and Mike are in the studio. So for me, and I would remember I was telling the Justice League, I said, y'all keep calling these songs Maybach Music. Maybach Music is done at Patchwerk.
Yeah.
Mixed there, that's the sound.
Yeah.
Y'all changing it, that ain't it.
Ooh.
And they didn't, and you can go back and listen to about the first 5.
Yeah.
And you listen to the rest of them, and they ain't it. But we looked at Bob at one point wanted to open up a studio at home in LA and in Miami. And so for me, I was like, well, who gonna run it? He was like, you gonna run it. I said, I'm not flying back and forth to be doing that. And so for me, I do believe in growth.
Okay.
But then I believe in smart growth.
Yeah.
And so smart growth to me was, I'm not trying to go all the way to LA. I want the studio 2 miles down the road. So we looked at Doppler, we looked at some other studios.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I can run this studio 4 miles away with the same staff.
That's true.
Same engineers, same management, but one fee, and now I'm doubling on the income.
Yeah.
So we would do something, the virtual, you know, I feel like for me, I'm playing on a different ground.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to step down to compete against with other people. I don't want to be, I'm like, Hammer was hitting.
Yeah.
Ja Rule, you was hitting.
Yeah.
You let somebody else tell you to get off your game
and
try to come down there and make some gangster step with them and messed up your career.
Ooh.
I'd rather stay up here and operate up here. So
I feel that.
So like a lot of stuff be how I get people that come to me be like, we got a platform and we got all these studios on there and we want to put Patchwerk on there. We've got this plug-in. And I say, well, you have no standards.
Yeah.
The home studio can get on this platform and say that they're a world-class facility. And when I come on there, I'm going to validate everybody underneath me.
That's right.
I'm not coming on your platform unless you like saying that we rank these hotels as 5-star or 5-star restaurant.
Yeah.
But if you letting Joe Blow get on your platform on Yelp or whatever studio thing is, and then you think I'm going to come there, I'm going to validate them.
Come on.
I'd rather just stay away and operate. I'm not like that. I'm very humble, but I'm not coming off the mountain
I don't blame that.
to be playing down
Exactly.
there. Yeah. I'm not doing that.
I don't blame that.
I'm not gonna come down there, man, and try to turn MC Hammer. Man, Hammer was big.
Come on.
He wanted to be a gangster. Ja Rule was singing. He was popular. 50 Cent talked him off his game.
Come on.
You know what I mean? You ain't talking me out of that beehive.
I ain't mad at that. I ain't trying to do it. I was just trying to give some more access to some more folks. But answer me this, though,
Well,
Kurt.
let me say this. So there are services that we provide,
Okay.
like I said, for people out of the country now that you don't have to be there. So if you're recording at home and you want us to mix something, we can do that without you being there.
Yeah.
If you need us to master something, we can do that. Distribution, paperwork, copyright, coding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We would like you to be there to record and to mix.
Yeah.
So you can sit there and we can collaborate with you and get you the sound that you want to. But we work with people all over the place. So you don't have to you have to come to record there.
Yeah.
Anything else, mixing, mastering, distribution, paperwork, we can do that remotely.
Studio sessions, Kurt. What studio session did you walk in on and you said, you know what, it's some magic happening in here?
I always say I think that Sierra first album. You know, I seen Sierra. One of her assistants called me about 5 months ago asking for some stuff that we did back in '99.
My God.
I said, we don't have it, but I can tell you where I sent it. So I pulled up the records, had the FedEx tracking number. I told her where everything was. But just her spirit of, she used to then wear all that stuff. You know, she would wear the jeans, the long, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't get in these goodies or nothing like. She would walk through that studio and hug everybody and have that energy and that spirit. And then Jazzy and them were creating something special.
Come on.
And then now I think the reason why it was different was because back then when they would do stuff, if somebody like Missy was working with her on goodies or whatever, and or 1-2 Step, they would send me the demo of Missy singing it so I can give it to the session. So I would be sitting in the office in the morning, and if you can imagine Missy singing 1-2 Step,
oh my God,
I would be listening to those records that they demoed out and did, and then for that record for it to just jump up out of there, like the whole album, was dope. Same thing for Jeezy, because we seeing these people, like people come to the studio and they look at all of these plaques.
Yeah.
I keep saying, is it the artist's first plaque? If it is, they was just like you. Nobody knew Luda. Nobody knew Lil Jon. Nobody knew Jeezy. Nobody knew Sierra. Nobody knew the Young Bloods. Nobody knew Goody Mob, whoever. And so that's what brings me joy, is being like, man, when you a new artist, you are up against so much to make it.
That's right.
A lot of times, a lot of your favorite groups, their first album is your favorite album because the A&Rs made them work with the best producers.
Yeah.
They made them work at the best studios with the best engineers, the best writers, the best everything, the best whatever. And then they made this incredible album. And then the artists look at it and be like, man, I did all this stuff, but they spent all my money. You know what? I got a trick for you. The second album, I'm gonna hire my homeboy to make the beats.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write my own stuff. I'm gonna be more involved.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the homie to engineer, and we gonna do the artwork. And then all the fans be like, man, this first album was incredible. What happened? And then the third album, what the artists do? I'm taking it back.
I'm taking it back.
Yeah, I'm going back to my mama's basement where I did the first song. But you're not too short. Too short, you lose the credibility.
Come on now.
Just kept it consistent or whatever.
Exactly.
Yep. So those things to me are like my biggest pride on the wall is if it's an artist's first album. And then 30 years later, I know they still performing to the stuff that we did because we made sure that we're the records that y'all talking about your mamas used to listen to. You like, why does this Isley Brothers sound so good?
Yeah.
Now they like, why does Sierra first album be hitting like that? Why does that Jeezy, that first album with Soul Survivor, be hitting like that? Why does that Outkast with them elevators and that Waka Flocka, no hands, why that shit hit like that? Man, we was paying attention to the details. So now you're older. I'm 53. And if you were going to the record store, you start seeing these names of places where they were doing these records and certain musicians. now we're that. From the 95s all the way up, if anybody is pulling CDs and pulling records or whatever, and they looking at these credits, they're going to start saying, who the hell is Patchwerk? Patchwerk. You know what I mean? And I always tell people, there's BP and AP. Before Patchwerk and after Patchwerk. You go back and pick up the records that was coming out of Atlanta sonically and see how they sounded before we kind of got here. And then you see what they sound like after we built that $3 million world-class facility, which allowed our artists to stay home and be great.
Okay, Curt, on the hip-hop side, though, who did you see going there and set the booth on fire and got you excited?
On the hip-hop side?
On the hip-hop side.
You mean like rapping?
Rapping. Somebody went in there and just set that booth on fire. You're like, wait a minute now, this is just getting ridiculous.
You know what? There's a different thing. Like if you don't know, so I would consider Scarface a serious artist. He seems serious. He be rapping about all this stuff or whatever. He seemed like a serious person that don't be fucking around. Outside the studio, the nigga tell a joke a minute. He be bagging and shit, and he got a different voice to me. So, of course, again, like, nigga, this Scarface. Nigga, you about to go in the booth? Nigga, I'm coming in the room. I'm sitting in there, and he's over here joking. He bagging on me. He telling jokes. He sound a certain way. But he don't sound like Scarface. He walk in the booth. He check the mic. And the nigga sound like Scarface. That's amazing to me. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then when Snoop, not even the rhymes, when Snoop was there, it's for real. The nigga, he was here for about a week. All he do is play old ass music and smoke weed.
My God.
So we sitting in there. Don Bishop is there. Bishop Don Juan. Got on the green suit, the hat, the cup, everything. I walk downstairs, Snoop in the booth. Don Juan sitting on the floor. I said, nigga, we got chairs and stuff. You want a chair or you can sit upstairs? Nah, player. I like to sit here while Snoop in the booth. Because I give him inspiration to spit that pip shit. So the nigga just sat there when he write rhymes. And, you know what I mean? Now, when Corrupt was dope, and the shit that Twister did was amazing to me. And like the E40. And then I always tell, what's his name? I tell Jeezy, I said, man, I said, nigga, you was rapping when you said, you know, I'm a predator. I pray 3 times a day. Like, that was a dope ass rhyme, you know. And
that
then,
is hard.
and then probably like 2 years ago, we was sitting in there, and I was telling Troy, I said, nigga, you was rapping.
Come on.
He was like, I got this calculator about as big as a beat machine. I'm on the. He was like, Curt, I was on my rap shit. I said, nigga, you know, I'm from LA. I'm thinking these niggas ain't really saying nothing. I said, nigga, you was rapping like a motherfucker. He was like, nigga, I was spitting on that shit or whatever. On. And then Banner does this thing or whatever. But it's like, I think some of the stuff I had to go back and kind of appreciate it a little bit more. Because I just thought Troy was just chanting and whatever. And I was like, oh, this nigga is rapping.
Nah, he was putting that pen to pad and that thing.
And then, when one of the things that was cool, when we was at the old place, I remember, you know, Pimp C and was in there. He was producing. And the nigga used to be like, he would book like 6-7 days. He'd be in there smoking, him and Green, them or whatever. And he would have all these old ass musicians just come in the studio, drummers, horn players or whatever. And he would just tell niggas to record it. So after like 4 days, I'm sitting there like, nigga, you wasting all this studio time. Y'all not gonna do no raps? It's like, man. He said, these the sounds I use for my production. He's like, I'm not going to get these old ass records don't sound good. I'm gonna take the kick from that drum, the horns from here. And if you listen to his production, that's why his shit sounds so clean, because he had clean sounds.
Out of Patchwerk.
He was paying for them musicians to get up there and just play, and then he would chop different pieces of it to make his music. And you know, so he was, you know.
What was it like dealing with the pimping there, though?
I miss him because I think he added balance. Like he wasn't really for that bitch shit, like, which was cool. And so, you know, he would be like, when he would go to jail, he would call. I would talk to his mom. I would talk to
Mama West.
Yep. And so, Curt, anybody need them goddamn features, I'm telling them to call your ass. I'm charging this much money. I need this much time. And you tell them I'm coming down there and I'm only doing it whatever. And it was a trust. Like it wasn't, like I keep saying, it's like over the years, the team takes on the personality of the head coach.
Yeah.
I tell anybody, I don't really do no bitch shit.
Yeah.
So we don't have no bitch-like characteristics, and it connects with certain people. Certain people are no longer here, so certain sucker shit is happening in the music industry.
Yeah.
So you got rid of Master P, you got rid of Irv,
Yeah.
you got rid of Suge,
Yeah.
you got rid of Jay Prince,
Yeah.
you got rid of all the gangsters that was like when you was doing, you told me you gonna play my record and you ain't play it. They wasn't sending you no DM. They was gonna wait till they come to your city.
Yeah.
And you had to have muscle.
Come
they
on.
was whooping ass.
Is that?
That kept a balance from people doing sucker shit because you had to worry about the consequences.
Yeah.
Now people just be saying stuff, doing stuff, playing around, doing these practical jokes on people. So for me, I went to his funeral.
Yeah.
I miss him talking. Tupac the same way. I would miss him calling out shit and not just letting sucker shit ride.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's messing up our industry.
Yeah.
Because the manly men people are gone, and it's almost like when you allow somebody else to choose your leaders, they choosing a certain type of person that ain't got no facial hair like you, B-Huh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They walk and tuck their hands in their pocket.
Yeah.
And
they ain't saying it with their chest.
Yeah. So I struggle dealing with that funny style stuff. I'd rather deal with somebody that's like, you know, all these people that we talked about before, Rico, Pimp, Block, Jazzy, Noonie, street niggas. That when they told you something,
they meant it.
That's what it was. We ain't had no emails and texts. It's like, nigga, I said I'm gonna be there. Like, I didn't reconfirm with you. We set this appointment up.
Exactly. I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. And so you have that about certain people. That's what I miss. Is as like, man, just some niggas. Like, you know, like, hey man, like we need so I'm gonna say this. I've never said this on camera because it was a touchy situation. R. Kelly was probably one of our best clients. R. Kelly had so much money moving around by him working in the studio. He would have two buses sitting in the front, so 2 bus drivers are getting paid. He would have a set of 2 engineers on the bus that would rotate every 15 hours. He would have a music director in the studio. He have keyboard player, drum, bass. His food budget was unlimited, so every day we would spend about $380 on Chinese food. Dinner, spend another whatever. He's staying in a hotel. You know, he doing a tour. He booking out people buying clothes. He was never, his label never took 30 days to pay us, ever. They paid upfront, on time. Great business people. Listening party. Man, I hate what they, like, the stuff that they said that he did, but the way that they taken his work, You Are Not Alone, the Michael Dim records, y'all taking, so then, hey, we're going to drop them, but you didn't drop that catalog. We ain't going to put nothing new out, but we're going to keep this old stuff, and we going to, you know, whatever. I don't respect that. And I don't respect the people that is kind of like, again, you can talk about somebody's behavior, you can talk about somebody's talent, and you can talk about their business. His business was on point. And of course it was, because look how successful. So the things that I told you before, we're going to do a $300 budget for Kels, but if he spend over $300, Curtis, don't call us, give him whatever he want. Okay, no problem. Okay. Hey man, he want this, he want that. Make it happen. Don't tell him no. That's a superstar.
Exactly. Curt, what do you feel like the future of this entertainment industry is about to go though right now, man?
I think that the music is, well, the format of how we listen to music it keeps changing from 8-track to vinyl to cassette to CD to streaming. The same about, I believe, more money is being made. The thing that ain't changed is the people that own it and control it and manipulate it. And we may have figured out a certain part of it, how to record it, how to mix it, how to master it, how to distribute it. But it got to get played on their stations. You think that you have a competitive advantage because YouTube allows you to put stuff up there, spend a little bit of money to promote it. How much money you think they spend to promote their stuff? You got an album.
Ain't got no competitive advantage.
You giving them $2,000, they spending $200,000.
Exactly.
Still at the bottom. I think that this conversation about people that are our age now that done these records going back and reclaiming their copyrights and getting the ownership to their music is good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why people on the record label side haven't done anything different, but I think that maybe they didn't really have the power that they put out. So when I look at it like for us, we were a record label and we were a studio. BJ and Bob and them ran the record label, I ran the studio.
Yeah.
With the studio, I was like, I'm changing this shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change the whole industry, the way the studios operate and all this stuff. I still been looking for the person that was going to change the way the record label business. We had people in position to do it, but they took the money. They got bought out. They took it. They cashed out or whatever. Something happened. At the end, it's almost like, hey, you got somebody, you go into court, you got all the evidence, man, bust them. But then you settle to take the money. It don't benefit. No, it benefits you, but it doesn't benefit the rest of us.
Yeah.
I see so many people that were in the music industry, do podcast shows, got all this stuff to say about record labels and how they do stuff. But when you were in the system, did you change it?
Did you change it?
Yeah. Well, now, I see a lot of people that are successful and it's benefiting them, but where are the people that's going to fill the seat when you leave? Have you trained somebody? Have you taught somebody? Where's the next A&R? Where's the next manager? All these people are sitting in these seats and they won't get out of them. They're not bringing anybody. There's a gap where they're not teaching, training, educating, sharing information to bring these people along so we can move forward. I keep saying that y'all making the shit smaller. You're making it smaller. It's the same people that was in the music industry, and then they moved to the liquor industry. Then they moved to entertainment, and now they're in politics. It's the same 4 or 5 people in every picture that's getting the benefits of being associated with somebody. It's not getting bigger, they're making it smaller, and by getting smaller, y'all complaining that Atlanta ain't black no more. You ain't because
y'all ain't letting no damn body else in.
For me, on my engineer call list right now, I got 16 people. I got probably about another people. We always employ about 26 people, but over 30 years, we have alumni that are branched out and doing everything.
Come on.
Okay, well, y'all been in business as long as me. Where's your alumni? Where are those people that you trained to be able to go run their own business or run somebody else's business?
Exactly.
And then bring in your niece and nephew to intern there and teach them how to go out and earn a living and hire other people that look like you. Where are they at? You on this platform, where is your success tree?
Legacy.
Where the people?
Legacy.
Yeah. So for me, I'll be like, man, I wish I stayed. I wish I did the record label side.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And so I'm hoping that there's somebody.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
On the other side, that's like, we finna change this. Like, we gonna break this. Like, we gonna really get through this, and then we gonna do it. But there may be people that got through, but they're not bringing enough people with them. They dogging people out. So now when they get in place, they dogging people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean,
well,
like,
no, you just snapped, Kurt.
Yeah.
You just snapped. You inspired me at the same damn time. It also shed a light on my personal journey as well, because when I think about radio, when I worked in radio, when I was in the seat, I made sure I pushed everybody through there that I possibly could. I said, you know what? Let me get these OGs relevant in today's society and culture. And that's the legacy that I left. And then after I left, ain't nobody give a damn again. It went right back to where it was at when I found it, to where if you ain't Sexy Red, if you ain't Glorilla, we ain't got no love for you.
Right.
You know, and they trying to bring it back, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, when you did it for a different reason.
Yeah.
They only doing it if it financially benefits them. They don't really care enough about it.
Yeah.
So if they don't care about it and it ain't making no money, they quit.
But they don't understand that the care eventually is going to be tied into the money if you give a damn enough.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Or
issue.
you a quarter your own market.
That's why you here.
Yeah.
So it's like now all of those blessings that you bestowed upon other people, if you pick up the phone or you ask somebody to do something, you don't even have to ask people to do anything. People
just
want to see you win.
Exactly.
Yeah. So on ours, that's where I just kind of like, man, it just irritates me to see people talking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where's your crew that you brought up, and where's the impact? And you got all this stuff to say. When you was in there, you was contributing to it.
Yeah.
And now that you got out, you trying to criticize it, man. I don't respect that.
Yeah. Now you got to open it up. Lastly, though, Curt, if people want to get down with this 30th anniversary of Patchwerk, how do they get down with it? Where do they find the flyers? Where do they find the events? How do they contact you?
You got the flyers that ain't out yet, but
okay, yeah.
I'm joking. But on ours, it's like we heavy on our social media. So Patchwerk Studios, or guess what? We do have a real website. www.patchwerk.com, and it'll have all our social media on there.
Yeah.
Or as always, you can always call us. We don't have an AI person answering our phone. 404-874-9880, or come by the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that type of person that holds my hands up. My staff is, for some reason. I'll be like, man, the person at the door, let them in.
Exactly.
You got a reception area that's going to stop them. Why are you trying to talk through the speakerphone? Man, bring people in here.
Yeah.
Quit telling people no. So if you're in the area, we're in Midtown, stop by the studio.
Yeah.
Call the studio. Hit us up in our social media DM or whatever. Now, the event will be on July 26th from 2 p.m. to 8.
Okay.
You can get information by calling all those places or whatever. We hadn't put well, we'll have the flyers and stuff out on social media.
Okay.
And really, it's like a free event, man, but we're going to ask you to donate. It's like saying bring some canned food.
Yeah.
Bring some canned food, we're going to give you some tickets.
Hey.
Yeah, give us $5 or $10 and you can come on in and we're going to have a good time.
Sound like a plan to me. Get down with the movement. Be Hot Radio Show. Curt Daniel Patchwerk. We gone.